No one noticed him at first. He stood near the entrance of the old hall, holding a thin paper in his hand. The paper shook a little, not because of the cold, but because of fear. The hall was big, too big for someone like him. The ceiling felt high, almost endless. The walls looked far away. The lights were bright and sharp, making his eyes hurt. The sound of voices filled the air. Laughter, whispers, soft music, footsteps moving in every direction. Everything mixed together. Everything felt loud. Too loud. He stayed close to the door, as if he might need to leave at any moment. He did not speak to anyone. He never did. Some people thought he was rude. Others thought he was shy. A few thought he was strange. But the truth was simple and painful. He could not speak. His voice had been silent for many years. Not because he was born that way. Not because he chose silence. But because something inside him broke long ago. Something that never fully healed. He learned early that explaining this only made things worse. So he stopped trying. He waited near the wall, away from everyone. His back touched the cold surface, and it gave him a small feeling of safety. From there, he could see everything, without being seen too much himself. Others were warming up their hands, rubbing them together, stretching fingers. Some were talking about the songs they would play. Some laughed loudly. Some made jokes to hide their nerves. Some looked confident, like they already believed they would win. Their voices rose and fell easily. Words came to them without effort. They filled the room with sound. He watched them quietly. His eyes moved from face to face, then slowly down to the floor. He noticed small details, shaking knees, forced smiles, deep breaths. Everyone was nervous in their own way, but they could speak about it. He could not. The paper in his hand had a number written on it. The edges were bent from how tightly he held it. That number was his turn. He had almost left. More than once, the thought came to him like a strong pull. Just walk out. Open the door. Feel the fresh air. Go back to being invisible. No one forced him to be there. No one would stop him if he left. It would be easier. Much easier. No questions. No looks. No quiet shame. No pain sitting in his chest. He took one small step toward the door. Then he stopped. His eyes moved toward the piano on the stage. It stood there under the soft light. Old, but strong. The surface had small marks, signs of age and use. Silent, but waiting. It did not judge. It did not ask questions. It simply existed. His fingers moved slightly, as if they already knew what to do. As if they were remembering something before his mind could. A memory came to him, not a clear picture, just a feeling. A small room filled with warm light. A window open just a little. A piano nearby. Someone sitting close. A time when life felt safe. When sound felt warm instead of painful. That feeling wrapped around him gently. It kept his feet still. A voice called out a number. His heart dropped. It was his number. His body froze. His breath caught in his chest. The person calling looked around. Next, the voice said, louder this time. People turned their heads. Some looked at him with quick interest. Some looked away like they did not want to be involved. Someone near the front side, clearly bored, already tired of waiting. His throat tightened. He swallowed hard. He wanted to say something, anything. Even a small sound, even a broken word. But nothing came, not a sound, not even a breath that could turn into a word. He raised the paper in his hand. The person at the desk frowned slightly. Can you speak? They asked. The question was simple. The answer was heavy. He shook his head slowly. A pause filled the space between them. The room felt suddenly smaller. Every second stretched. Another judge leaned forward. Then how will you explain your piece? They asked. Their voice was not angry, just confused, uncertain. He did not answer. He could not. His hands tightened at his sides. The judges exchanged looks. One of them sighed quietly. Another tapped a pen against the table. Someone whispered something under their breath, too low to hear clearly, but loud enough to feel. "This is a piano audition," one judge finally said, "not a place for silence." The words were not meant to hurt, but they did. He felt his chest tighten, like something heavy was sitting on it. Heat rose to his face. His ears burned. His hands felt cold now, almost numb. For a moment, it seemed over, like the door was already closing. Then he took a small step forward, just one. He bowed his head slightly, not to beg, not to ask for pity, just to show respect, to show that he understood. Then he walked toward the stage. Each step felt heavy, like he was walking through deep water. The floor felt far away beneath his feet. The lights felt closer now, too close. They showed everything, his shaking hands, his tense shoulders, his quiet fear. People watched him, some with interest, some with doubt, some with quiet judgment. He felt all of it, even without looking. He reached the piano bench and stopped. He did not sit right away. Instead, he placed one hand gently on the piano, just for a second, like greeting an old friend after a long time apart. The wood felt smooth under his fingers, familiar, steady. He closed his eyes. The noise in the room slowly faded, or maybe it was just inside his mind. The whispers became distant, the lights softer. His breathing slowed. In that moment, it felt like it was only him and the piano. Then he sat down. The bench creaked slightly, a small sound, but to him, it felt loud. It echoed inside his head. He placed his hands on his lap. His fingers trembled. His heart beat fast. Too fast. A judge cleared their throat. "You may begin," they said. Unsure, he lifted his hands and placed them on the keys. For a moment, nothing happened. That moment felt long. Too long. Someone in the back shifted in their seat. Another person checked their phone. A quiet cough broke the silence, sharp and uncomfortable. Then his fingers moved. The first note was soft, almost too soft to hear, like a whisper trying to exist in a loud world. Then another note. Then another. The melody did not rush. It moved slowly, carefully, like someone learning how to walk again after falling hard. At first, the sound felt unsure. The notes were gentle, almost fragile, but there was something real in them, something honest, something that could not be faked. The room began to change. People stopped moving. The coughs stopped. The whispers faded. Even the air felt still. The boy's shoulders relaxed a little as he played. His breathing found a rhythm. His fingers remembered what his voice could not say. The music spoke of quiet pain, of long nights spent awake, of holding tears inside because there was no safe place to let them fall, of feeling invisible while standing in a room full of people. The judges leaned forward. Without realizing it, the melody grew stronger, not loud, just deeper. The piano began to carry weight, emotion, memory, feeling after feeling, layered gently. It felt like the music was telling a story without words, a story of loss, of fear, of standing alone in a loud world while feeling completely unseen. Somewhere in the middle of the piece, his hands stopped shaking. Confidence did not come suddenly. It came slowly, like light at the end of a long tunnel, one note at a time. The music changed. It became warmer. Hope entered the sound. Not a loud hope, a quiet one. The kind that hurts, but still keeps going. The kind that refuses to disappear. Someone in the audience wiped their eyes without knowing why. One judge lowered their pen. The boy's face stayed calm, but inside him, something was opening. Something he had locked away for years. Something fragile. The piano allowed it to breathe. Each key carried a feeling he never spoke. Each pause held a memory he never shared. This was his voice. He leaned into the final section of the piece. The music rose gently, like a sunrise that comes after a long, dark night. But just before the end, he slowed. The last few notes were soft again, careful, almost painful, like saying goodbye without words. Then his hands lifted from the keys. Silence returned, a deep silence. No one moved, no one clapped, not yet. He sat still, staring at the keys. His chest rose and fell. He felt empty and full at the same time. He did not look at the judges. He did not look at the audience. He waited. The silence stayed longer than he expected. It felt heavy, like it was pressing down on his shoulders. The kind of silence that makes a person question everything. His hands rested gently above his lap now, no longer touching the keys. The warmth of the piano still lived in his fingers, but the sound was gone. He waited. His heart beat slowly. Each beat felt loud inside his chest. He wondered if he had done something wrong. Maybe the music was not good enough. Maybe it was too quiet. Maybe they wanted something faster, something louder, something easier to understand. He did not know. He had never known how people would react. For years, silence had followed him everywhere. Silence after he tried to express himself. Silence after people realized he could not speak. Silence that felt like a closed door, so when no one clapped, it felt familiar. But this silence felt different. It was not empty. One of the judges shifted in their chair. The sound broke the moment, just slightly. Another judge cleared their throat, but did not speak. The audience remained still. Then something unexpected happened. One judge slowly stood up. The movement was calm, not rushed, not dramatic, just quiet and honest. The chair made a small sound as it moved back. That judge looked at the boy. Really looked at him. Not at the piano, not at the paper, at him. Then the judge began to clap. One clap. Then another. The sound echoed through the hall. The boy's shoulders tightened. His eyes lifted, just a little, unsure if what he heard was real. The clapping continued. Another judge stood up and joined in. Then another. The sound grew, but it was not loud or wild. It was steady, respectful, full. People in the audience slowly followed. Some stood. Some clapped while sitting. Some wiped tears before their hands came together. The room filled with applause. Not noise, feeling. The boy froze. His breath caught. He did not know where to look. His eyes moved across the room, seeing faces he had not noticed before. Faces that were soft now. Faces that looked moved. He lowered his head again. His chest felt tight, but not from fear this time. Something else was rising inside him, something warm. Something he had not felt in a very long time. One judge raised a hand gently, asking for quiet. The applause slowly faded. The judge spoke, choosing words carefully. "We usually ask performers to explain their piece," they said. "But today, we do not need an explanation." The boy looked up. Another judge leaned forward. "Your music explained everything," they said softly. The boy's eyes filled. He blinked quickly, trying to keep control. He did not want to cry here. Not now. Not in front of everyone. The first judge spoke again. "You may not speak with words," they said, "but you spoke clearly today." The boy pressed his lips together. His hands clenched slightly in his lap. For a moment, he wanted to try, to force a sound, to say thank you, to let something come out. But his throat closed the moment he tried. He lowered his head again. The judges did not push. They understood. One of them smiled gently and nodded, as if saying, "It's okay." The boy stood up slowly. His legs felt weak. The room still felt unreal, like he was inside a dream that might disappear if he moved too fast. He bowed his head again, this time, deeper. Then he walked away from the piano. As he stepped off the stage, people made space for him. No one touched him. No one stopped him. But many eyes followed him with respect. He returned to the wall near the entrance, the same place where he had stood at the beginning, but it felt different now. The hall felt smaller, softer. He leaned against the wall and let out a breath. He did not know he was holding. His hands still shook, but now from release, not fear. He stayed there while other performers went on stage. He watched them play. Some were good, some were nervous. Some made mistakes and smiled through them. But he was no longer comparing himself. Something had changed. Inside him, after some time, a staff member approached quietly. They did not speak right away. They waited until he noticed them. They held out a small card and pointed gently. It was an invitation, not a promise, not a prize, but an invitation to return, to continue, to be part of something. His fingers trembled as he took it. He nodded in thanks. Later, when the hall began to empty, he stepped outside. The evening air felt cool against his face. The sky was turning dark, but not completely. A soft light still rested near the horizon. He stood there for a long moment. Cars passed. People talked. Life moved. He thought about the years behind him, about the silence that followed him everywhere, about the times he wanted to speak but could not, the times people stopped listening because he could not explain himself. He remembered the moment his voice left him, the confusion, the fear, the slow understanding that words would not come back. He remembered how music stayed, always patient, always waiting. He walked slowly down the steps and sat on a low wall nearby. The sounds of the city surrounded him, but they did not overwhelm him now. He closed his eyes. Inside his mind, the piano was still playing. For the first time, he did not feel broken. He felt heard. Days passed, then weeks. He returned to the hall many times, sometimes to play, sometimes just to sit and listen. He learned to move with confidence now. Not loud confidence, quiet confidence, the kind that does not need approval to exist. People learned his story without him having to explain it. They learned through his music, through the way he played, through the pauses between notes. He began to teach, too, not with words, but with patience, with gentle guidance, with shared understanding. Children watched his hands closely. Adults listened more carefully, and slowly. Something else began to happen when he was alone one evening. Sitting at a piano in an empty room, he felt something rise in his chest. Not fear, not pain. Sound. It was small, fragile, barely there. A breath escaped his lips, then another. It was not a word, but it was a sound. He froze, his heart raced. He did not try to force it. He did not push. He simply stayed still, letting the moment exist. Tears fell freely now. He smiled. Whether his voice returned fully or not did not matter anymore. He had found another way to speak, and the world had listened.